All right, so this is the day the Lord has made. To rejoice and be glad in it, brethren. I want to welcome us to the Season Apologies Live today. And I need to, first off, apologize that we're starting very, very, very late. Okay. So we're starting 25 minutes after 7 when we ought to have started by 7 o'clock Nigerian time. So I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that we're starting very, very late. There was a bit of a technical challenge. All right. The challenge is actually what uh, you know, give rise to the reason why we are late in starting today. But please do bear with us. Well, we wanted to understand with us that sometimes we do have these challenges, but we're so glad that we're live today. All right. So again, I want to welcome us to the Season Apologies Live. It's been a while we've been here. We've been here for, a couple of months now. We've not been able to do some live session just as we have been doing for a while. But I'm so glad that we're having the Season Apologist Live tonight. And we are going to be talking about a very important issue. Now, if you're engaging with the Muslims, if you're talking to the Muslims, if you are, evangelizing the Muslims, you do discover that one of the three topic of discussion that will often come up when you're talking to the Muslim is the topic of Muhammad, the personality of Muhammad. But not as that alone. It's about the topic of Muhammad being prophesied in the Bible. All right. So the Muslims actually believe, okay. In fact, when you have a conversation with a Muslim to a certain extent, it will tell you that you see, your book has been corrupted, but you see, but Muhammad is still prophesied in the Bible. That our prophet is being talked about in your own Bible as a Christian. So the Muslims actually believe that there are prophecy about their prophets in the Bible. But then, when you're engaging a Muslim and he's talking about this, okay, there is a reason why he's talking about it. And tonight, we're going to be seeing the reason why it is very important. But first off, you might want to ask yourself as a Christian, why on earth should we even talk about this? Now, why this particular topic in the very first place? Why are we talking about this? All right. And that is exactly what I'm going to be sharing with us. Why are we talking about this topic? So, first off, and the only reason why we're talking about this topic is because the Muslims claim that Muhammad was prophesied in the Bible. All right. So is that not interesting that the reason why we're talking about this topic of discussion is because the Muslims claim that Muhammad was prophesied in the Bible. And that is the reason why I said that when you're conversing with a Muslim, when you're talking to them, and you have this conversation with a Muslim, there is no way you're not going to get to this topic of discussion. Okay, they're always going to raise it up. Even if you don't talk about it, if you're not raising it up, the Muslims will actually want to raise it up. Okay, so the reason why we're talking about this, okay, the reason why we're taking a look at this particular topic of discussion is because the Muslims claim that Muhammad was prophesied in the Bible. So that's really very important. So once we understand that the Muslims actually claim this, then it helps us to engage with them. All right, because sometimes some Christians that actually engages the Muslim, they just felt that this is hearsay. Okay, they've been hearing Christians talk about this, but they do not hear it from the Muslim. They have not heard it from the Muslim. Okay, so it is very important that we know that this is the claim of the Muslim. This is actually what they are saying. All right, and the reason why this is also very important is because this claim, according to the Muslim, is not just something that is out of the air, all right? It is not something that they are making up, okay? The Muslims actually believe that Muhammad is prophesied both in the Old and the New Testament. So they believe that the prophecy of Muhammad actually span from the Old to the New Testament. And that's the reason why when you're talking to a Muslim, he will tell you that there are a couple of verses in the Old Testament that talks about or that references the prophecy about Muhammad. So he believes that there are passages in the Old Testament that pinpoint, that specifically talks about the prophet of Islam, which is actually Muhammad. So, like for instance, the Muslims actually believe that you see Muhammad is actually prophesied in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 18, okay, verse 16, and also the same thing done in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18. Okay, they believe that Muhammad was actually prophesied in the Song of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 16. They believe that Muhammad was prophesied in the book of Isaiah 29, verse 11. All right. So there are a couple of verses in the Bible, the Old Testament right now, where the Muslims believe and they claim Muhammad was really prophesied those verses of scriptures. But you see, it is just the Old Testament. Okay? Only the Old Testament that the Muslims actually believe that prophesied. They believe that Muhammad prophesied both in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And that is the reason why we said that. See, they believe that the prophecy may span through the Old to the New Testament. So it's not just something that is limited to the whole, all right? Something that is okay within, that can be found within the Old Testament and the New Testament. And once you understand this, as it will really is. But because the discussion, because of the purpose of the topic that we're going to be looking at tonight, we're not going to be dealing with that of the Old Testament, okay? We're just going to be dealing with some of the ones that we have in the New Testament. And for goodness sake, we're going to be dealing with everything that is in there in the New Testament, because the Muslims believe that there are a couple of verses in the New Testament that talks about Muhammad, all right? So we're not going to talk about all of the verses, okay? Believe that there are verses in the Gospel that talk about Muhammad, verses in the epistles that talk about the Muhammad. In fact, I've seen some Muslims that actually talk about the apocalyptic literature, that is the book of Revelation, all right, for instance. And they believe that Muhammad was even talked about in that particular, book. You remember that man on the white horse, the man who is actually riding the white horse. I've actually seen some Muslims saying that, hey, this is actually referring to Muhammad. So Muslims actually make this claim, okay, that Muhammad was prophesied right from the Old Testament to the New Testament. So we're going to be narrowing it down to the New Testament. Why? Because if we're going to be saying that we want to take a look at all of these things from the Old Testament to the New Testament, I tell you, it's going to take us a lot of time. We could do this for a year, okay? So we just want to narrow it down. And that is the reason why we are going to be concentrating in the New Testament. We're not going to be going into the Old Testament. And that is the reason why on the screen right there, where our emphasis, okay, is actually on the New Testament. That is actually what we're going to be starting from. And then the reason why we're doing this again, as a sort of reminder, is that the Muslims claim that Muhammad is the comforter that Jesus actually promised. So, if, like I said, if you've been engaging the Muslim, they will tell you that, you see, in John chapter 14, in John chapter 16, talking about those verses, John chapter 14, 15, and 16, that the comforter or the person that Jesus Christ spoke about right there is actually Muhammad. That's what they believe. All right. This is what a Muslim would tell you. But you see, the truth of the matter is that when a Muslim is telling you this, it's not just telling you this because he wants to tell you this. All right. There is a reason why a Muslim is actually saying this. A Muslim is saying this because of something. And that is the reason I put it right here, that there is a basis for the claim of the Muslim. And you might ask yourself, what is the basis of the claim of the Muslims? Why are the Muslims making this claim? Okay. What is the foundation? What is the motivation? Okay, what is that thing that is inspiring, that is motivating? Okay, or I could use this word, that is actually pushing the Muslims to make this claim. It's only one thing, and this is the thing, is actually the Quran. The Quran is actually the motivating factor for the Muslims to claim that Muhammad was prophesied in the Bible. Okay, so the Muslims actually believe that Muhammad was prophesied in the Bible. Why? Because the Quran said so. Okay, the Quran actually mentioned it. Therefore, they hold on to that belief that Muhammad was mentioned or prophesied in the Bible. But you see, for the Muslims to say this, okay, they also make references to, the Quran. They believe that the Quran, just like I mentioned, is the okay, the basis of their proclamation. They actually look at text in the Quran, make this particular claim. And that is the reason to ask the Muslim, what is the evidence for what you're saying? What verse of the Quran actually talks about this? Or what verse of the Quran actually backs what you're saying up? Okay, quickly, the Muslim actually quote to you two verses of the Quran. So the very first one we're taking a look at right now is Quran chapter 61, verse 6. All right. That is the verse of the Quran, the very first that the Muslims will allude to. Quran chapter 1, verse 6. And here's what the verse of the Quran. We're reading from Dr. Mustafa Khattab's translation of the Quran, the clear Quran. And here's what it says. And remember when Jesus son of Mary, said, O children of Israel, I am truly Allah's messenger to you, confirming the Torah which came before me, and giving good news of a messenger after me, whose name will be Muhammad. Yet, when the prophet came to them with clear proofs, they said, This is pure magic. So, according to this verse of the Quran, Jesus is making a proclamation, all right, talking to the children of Israel that after him, okay, when he's gone, okay, there's going to be another prophet that will come after him. And the name of this prophet was mentioned, and as we've seen on the screen before, and let me quickly bring it up again. The name of this prophet is actually Muhammad, all right? So this is the name of the prophet that would come after Jesus. That's the author of the Isa of the Quran right now. So the Isa of the Quran is saying that after me, a prophet will come, and the name of this prophet will be none else other than Muhammad. Okay, so that's the name of the prophet that will come after me. So that is the reason why if a Muslim is talking to you, you have a conversation with a Muslim, he will tell you that, see, the Quran actually mentions that the Isa of the Quran prophesied that Muhammad is coming after him. All right. So you can see that the Quran is the motivating factor for the Muslim. You can see that the Quran is the basis for which the Muslims are actually making this claim. So because the Quran makes this claim, that is the reason why the Muslim cannot come and tell you that your Bible must talk about this. Why? Because Jesus is the one that is talking about this. All right. Muslims are actually believing that if Isa of the Quran, which they think is Jesus, okay, talks about this, then we should be able to find it in the Gospels. All right. So this is actually what the Muslim that now we've seen the first angle. We see that this is actually prophesied, this is actually mentioned in Quran chapter 61, verse 6. But you see, there's something interesting that the translator of this particular Quran mentioned. Like I said, the translator is Dr. Khattab. Here's his commentary on this verse of the Quran. It says that Ahmad or Muhammad, the praised one, all right, okay, is almost a translation of Pericles, all right, in the present Gospel of John chapter 14. Can you imagine that? Take a look at this. So Tab is actually telling us right here, what you see in Quran chapter 6 is actually what we have gospel. This is actually what we in the gospel. That's what Mustafa Khattab is saying right here. And that is the reason why when you see a Muslim making this claim, it's not just making the claim because it wants, appeal to the Bible. It's because the Quran actually talks about the Allah of the Quran through the Isa of Quran in this particular claim. And that is the reason you see a Muslim make claims. So it's not something that they are just bringing up. It's something that in the Quran. So let's continue or the commentary of Mustafa Khattab. It says, in the present gospel of John chapter 14, verse 16, John chapter 15, verse 26, and John chapter 16, verse 7. The word comforter in the English version is the Greek paraclete, which means one cup of a kind of, rather than comforter. Our authors contend that corrupted or is a corrupt reading Pericletus, and that in their saying of Jesus, okay, was a prophecy of our prophet Muhammad by even in Paraclete, it would apply to the mercy for all mankind, creatures, and most kind and merciful to the believer. All right. So this is actually the commentary. This is actually, the view of this is not even that of Mustafa Khattab right now. This is the view of Yusuf Ali of that. So actually bringing the view of Yusuf Ali right. So Yusuf Ali is that, see, this word that you're seeing right there in the New Testament is actually the word. We're still going to be in this world. We're going to be talking about this. But then it's that this particular word is actually a corrupted term. That the real is not Paracletus, it's not Paracletus, it's actually Cletus, Pericletus. So that's actually, so you can see there that Yusuf Ali is actually claiming that this verse of the Quran, Quran chapter 61, verse 6, is making reference to the statement of Jesus, the Jesus of the Bible, in John chapter 14, John chapter 15, and John chapter 16. So when you see making this claim, understand that because of what the Quran says, and because find the foundation for what the Quran is talking about, allude to this verse of scripture. He needs to talk about John chapter 14. Yet, he tell us that the Bible is corrupted. This is a dilemma for Muslims because telling us that the Bible has been corrupted. If the Bible is no longer the word of God, if the Bible has not been perfectly preserved, then the question I ask you is, hey, on earth is the Injil that you are referring to, or the Injil, okay, that Allah was referring to in Quran chapter 61, verse 6. So if Allah is talking about, a prophet that is coming through the mouth of the East Quran, okay, is referencing this particular saying. The question is, where can we find this? If it is not the gospel that we have in our hands today, where can we find it? Muslims cannot eat their cake and have it. They cannot tell us that the gospel has been said and that the Injil that they is referring to, still, when they are talking about the prophecy of Muhammad, especially when referring to Quran, they will be pointing to the book of John. All right. So if the gospel is not the Injil that you have in your Quran, you need to provide another book that is different from the book of John. So you need to understand this as a Christian. You need to learn this, because by the time you show a Muslim a particular argument, then he begins to understand that he's standing on a shadow. He begins to understand that his argument is not making any sense in any way, shape, or form. Okay, somebody just complain right now. The video is not clear. Yeah, you're right about that, bro. Dusi. The problem is simple. We started a bit late, and the reason why we started a bit late was because the network was so bad. All right, the network was so bad. That's the reason why we started late. So that's the reason why the video isn't clear. And because of this, I think we might just I would just have to put it draw the curtain right there, because I want to make sure that we're able to follow clearly. All right, the line of thought, we're able to follow with the evidence of what we have right here. Okay. We want to make sure that all of the things that we're projecting, you're seeing it, and then the sound and the video comes out clear, so that when you're going to use this, when you're going to be using this as a tool, either for your evangelism team, your discipleship, or you even want to send it to your Muslim friend, it's going to be clear enough for what we're talking about. Right. So again, I'm so sorry about this. I'm so sorry that this is not so clear. Sorry, the video is not so clear. It's because the net is very, very bad. All right, it's really bad. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that trusting and believing that we're going to have a stronger net next week. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just start this all over next week, so that we can best of time, we can expand on some of these things. Folks have a lot that we want to do, and I tell you, what we're going to be sharing on this particular topic is going to be insightful. It's going to be insightful. We're going to be taking a look at another dimension. All right, probably the dimension that some of us have been familiar with. Okay, I believe it's going to be a blessing to you and help the Muslims also, because at the end of the day, cover that the argument for prophecy are made, especially in the book of John. Okay, yeah, of course, I believe in all of the verses of scripture. Then in the book of John is actually very, very shallow, and you can show it to your Muslim friend very, very easily. I mean, you can show to him without even knowing the Greek word or the Hebrew word or whatever. You don't need to know all those things, but if you know them, it's an added advantage. All right, but without knowing those things, you'll be able to show to your Muslim friend clearly that Muhammad cannot be the comforter that Jesus promised. You show it to him clearly using both the Bible and the Quran, and that's what we're going to be using. Okay. In fact, we're not just going to limit it to that. We're going to use the Bible. We're going to use the Quran. We're going to use what do you call it right now? We're going to use the tafsir. Okay, we're going to use the hadith. I mean, we're going to use all the sources. Okay, to show that Muhammad was never mentioned in the Bible. Okay, so bro, this is saying that there's a public holiday tomorrow, that we can do it tomorrow. Yeah, that's true. There's a public holiday tomorrow, but the truth of the matter is that I'm going to be a bit engaged somewhat. So if we're going to have it tomorrow, I'll let us know. But properly, we're going to have this next week. All right. So, but if we're going to have it tomorrow, I will let us know. So again, I really want to appreciate us. I really want to thank us for staying up until now. Thank you very much. We started a bit late, not a bit late. We started late. We started about 7:30 or thereabout. Okay, and even when we started, the network was so bad, and it's still bad right now. So I'm so sorry. We can't continue any further from here, but please just um, pray with us. We're trusting that by the time we're able to do this next week, we're going to have a very good network, and we have a lot to share with us. All right, we have a whole lot to share with us. Again, thank you everyone for being here. I really appreciate us. Thank you, Bra Olugbade Samuel. Thank you very much, Ojobo. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it, Brownie. Thank you for being here. God bless you. Oh, Bra Yobami Karim. Thank you for being here. Actually, I met Bra Karim today. I think, yeah. I met Bra Karim today. Thank you very much, Bra Karim. God bless you. We actually met in the church. All right. Thank you very much, Bra Karim, for being here. Bra Emmanuel Dusi, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. God bless you. In fact, thank you for actually, notifying that the video. Thank you very much for that. We're believing that next week is going to be nice. Review proof. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you. And we also want to appreciate again our brother Jemarim, Miriam. Okay, Woodach. All right, yeah. Sorry, I don't know if you're a brother or a sister. I'm sorry about that. Because that Miriam actually is like a feminine name. Okay, Miriam Woodach. Okay, so I don't know if you're a male or a female, but whichever one you are, God bless you. To you, yeah, Miriam. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so and then Odusi says we could do this tomorrow. If we're going to be able to do it tomorrow, we'll let you know. Again, thank you very much, everyone, for staying up until now. I will keep us updates whenever we're going to be having the clearer version of this particular episode. But just keep your fingers crossed. It's going to be a nice time we're going to be having here, and please keep praying for us that we can do what I want us to do again. Thank you very much. God bless you. And then my name is Karina Lawoy. I'll see you bye. Thank you.